Hare Krishna, dear devotees, you can hear? Yes? Okay. Good morning to those in North America. And as always, I'm happy you could join us. I have an announcement I have to make. I'm going to make it in the beginning, and I'll make it at the end again. I try to make it with as few details as possible. I've been confronting some back issues for several months now, and I'm under the direction of a spinal therapist, and there's been a little setback recently, not bad, but enough to warrant some change. And I've been directed by the spinal therapist in consultation just last couple of days that I have to change my regimen of exercises, and special exercises were given that I have to do every 2 hours every day, and I'm not supposed to sit longer than 30 minutes. So I've decided how to best apply that, and I'm going to take 1 week off from giving presentations, and the next English presentation, so that I can focus, because I know I won't focus, and I know I'll sit here for an hour, hour and a half, and it's just, I do things like that all the time. So I'm going to take 1 week off, and I'll resume on next Sunday, June 7th. We'll see at that time how things are going, and it's a different. Anyways, June 7th will be for English Sunday. Next Sunday, that will be my hour resuming for English on June 7th. And for Russian, I'll be resuming on June 8th. And that's my plan. And today, I'm going to, we still have a long way to go on these verses about the holy name from Brihad Bhagavatamrita. I didn't expect them to be to go this long, although it's been nice. But I'm going to move along a little bit more quick today. Maybe we'll come a little bit closer towards the end of these verses, so that when I resume next Sunday, I'll either move to another section or I'll move to a different topic. I haven't decided yet. But that's my thoughts for today. We're only on verse 160. We started on verse 141, and we're only on verse, and that was almost 3 weeks ago. And we're only on verse, what is it? Where are we today? 165. And to the end of the chapter, the last verse is 186. We've only done about half the verses so far. So I'm going to move along a little bit more today. Less commentary, a little more reading. And we'll see if we can cover a little bit more of this topic about the superiority of Nam Sankirtan. And today's verse is, what did I say? 165. Last verse we did was the Sankirtan of Krishna's names is praised as the best and most powerful means to attain the treasure of Krishna Prema. It is like a potent mantra that can attract precious objects from a distance. Today's verse, beginning with 165, because Nam Sankirtan invariably leads to the treasure of pure love for the Lord, true connoisseurs of devotional service consider Nam Sankirtan the very fruit of bhakti. Commentary. According to many pure devotees, Nam Sankirtan is not only the best means of devotional service, but the final perfection itself. Of course, prema is the final goal of bhakti, but Nam Sankirtan so quickly and infallibly leads to prema that the two are considered virtually identical. Wherever prema is seen to have developed, one can presume that Nam Sankirtan must have been performed. Nam Sankirtan is a necessary and sufficient cause of prema. Reminds me of the in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Chaitanya was visiting Mathura, there was one Sanodiya Brahmin. He who was present when he entered Mathura, and Lord Chaitanya was dancing very ecstatically, and he was looking at this Sanodiya Brahmin who was similarly chanting and dancing very ecstatically. And Lord Chaitanya approached him afterwards and inquired from him, how is it that you are chanting and dancing in such an ecstatic way? And because he saw a very unique manifestation in this Sanodiya Brahmin that he attributed, that could have only been to contact with some very elevated devotee who must have been completely absorbed in Nam Sankirtan. That was Lord Chaitanya's assessment. And he says, you must have had some association. And the Brahmins then began to relate to him. I can't remember all the details, but it just came to my mind. The Brahmin began to relate to him how he had previous contact with Madhavendra Puri. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya heard the name of Madhavendra Puri, he immediately prostrated himself before the Brahmin, because Madhavendra Puri was the spiritual master of Ishwar Puri, who was his spiritual master, and therefore he considered the Brahmin to be superior in all respects because he was on a level equal to his spiritual master. Of course, the Brahmin was quite shocked at this behavior of the Lord. And then, anyways, the essence of it was that Lord Chaitanya's conclusion upon observing the ecstatic bliss which was manifest in this Brahmin is that he must have had contact with somebody who had similar ecstatic bliss in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And then it was revealed to him that he was not only associated with Madhavendra Puri, but Madhavendra Puri also accepted him, this Synodia Brahmin, as a disciple, initiated him. And therefore, as is described right here, wherever prema is seen to have developed, one can presume that Nam Sankirtan must have been performed. Nam Sankirtan is the necessary and sufficient cause of prema. There's more to that story. What actually happened is that the Brahmin invited Lord Chaitanya to his home and so that he could provide him ingredients for having his meal. And when Lord Chaitanya accepted his invitation, the Brahmin, I guess, he had requested Lord Chaitanya's servant to cook, and because he was from a caste which sannyasis are not supposed to accept food from. And Lord Chaitanya made it very clear that his servant, it was not necessary for his servant to prepare food, that he would be very eager to accept the food from this hand of the Synodia Brahmin. And he said, Lord Chaitanya established the principle that that whatever standards Madhavendra Puri himself establishes, that is the standard which I will follow. And if he accepted food from your hand, then I will accept food, and I don't care whatever the external judgment may be of my accepting food from your hands. If it was good enough for Madhavendra Puri, it's good enough for me. And there was a verse to that effect which escapes my mind. I used to know it, I used to quote it all the time, but that's the essence of the verse. And anyways, I thought that was relevant. I'm not supposed to make too many comments here. Text 166. According to some knowers of rasa, the real sign of a person full of prema is this: as he performs Sankirtan of the name he worships, the full force of spiritual agony erupts in him by the weight of his own love. Commentary: other expert Vaishnavas consider Sankirtan and Prema to be altogether the same. They are mutually the cause of one another and are therefore non-different. Text 167. Like the distressed crying of the Chataka birds on a cloudless day of the rainy season. Actually, one other thing came to my mind. I happened to be reading it. I was reading it earlier today when I was reading in a different section of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And in this verse that previous verse that we read, that according to the two verses, because Nam Sankirtan invariably leads to the treasure of pure love for the Lord, true connoisseurs of devotional service consider Nam Sankirtan the very fruit of bhakti. I was reading some verses earlier today, which is from the Bhakti Rasayana. Bhakti Rasayana are the verses that Sanatana Goswami put in the final chapter of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which are verses which describe the characteristics of... did you do that? Okay. The verses which describe the characteristics of Goloka Vrindavan. Rasayana is a tonic, and the Bhakti Rasayana means a tonic, which is very good for one's spiritual health.
Yes, I think we lost connection.
Excuse me?
We lost connection.
We lost connection.